Good morning, everybody. I was on a wonderful walk and I just stopped at this bench to contemplate some thoughts on leadership. And I've been thinking about, well, really what's been on my heart lately is just how sometimes leaders have to live with uncertainty. And I think this can be pretty challenging sometimes because oftentimes we want to have we naturally have, or we want to get to a place where we have a vision and we then can develop a structured plan to get there. We know what the end game looks like and we can work backwards from that. And that really, it's not that hard then to actually figure out a pathway to get to that. But what happens when we don't actually know what the end goal is? That can be really unsettling for a lot of people, myself included. It kind of makes me think about in the Bible how Jesus saw two men fishing and he just basically says, like, drop everything and come and follow me and I will teach you how to be fishers of men. So imagine what it was like for them. Here they are casting their nets trying to catch fish, and then they're like, what? We're gonna go fish for men? This is interesting. And just to drop everything and just go and follow this man. And it's really just interesting because sometimes we don't really know where we're going or why we're doing this or how that has to be. And that feeling of uncertainty can be really unsettling and discomforting for us. But I think it's important to think about a few things. One, to know ourselves. That's so important. Know what gives us joy, what helps us to thrive, what our blind spots are. And sometimes if we don't know this, it helps to talk to other people because they can reveal this to us in kind and helpful ways. And I think it's also really helpful to face the real life circumstances. Basically, don't try to deny the things that are in front of you. It's really important to face the music, face the facts. And then also to lean into the good truths of life. For example, I think this means serving and helping others, being people-oriented, caring and loving for people. Can't go wrong when you do that. Having self-care, being patient with yourself. And I think what we'll come to find is that we can build things brick by brick and step by step without actually knowing sometimes what the end game is. And this doesn't contrast other leadership advice that I've given about having a vision. I've talked in the past about how the people will perish without a vision. I think there are times where it's just not clear yet what that vision might be. And it's that this is particularly challenging for people who really like structure and lanes to be in. But these moments are really important. They're very clarifying for us. They force us to dig down and understand, find our inner strength. And in those moments of vulnerability, it asks us to think about who are we putting our trust in. And I think we'll find sometimes that the picture can paint itself if we are willing to be that paintbrush. And so sometimes we don't have to be the master artist. We just need to be willing to be used as the paintbrush, and that picture will paint itself. If we can rest in that season of uncertainty that makes us feel really uncomfortable, we can be patient and we can be willing to be used and see what wonderful, majestic picture ends up being painted in the end.